All right, good morning. Good morning, everybody. I hope you are having a great morning. Um, it is now June. I really can't believe it's already June 2nd. We wrapped up the General Assembly at 1:40, around 1:30, 1:40 in the morning on Sunday, yesterday. So I'm going to give you an update on that. Mostly, we're going to talk about, of course, the hot topic is the budget, and what passed, what didn't pass, who voted for what, how things are going to shake up in Springfield. So, but before that, we always do a little shout out to what's coming up. This month is June and the cup of the day. So let me get to those. I need to just set up and refresh my computer so that I can watch along as we go. For anybody that wants to put any comments in the Facebook live comment spot, you are welcome to do so. Also, if you're listening on Spotify, thank you very much. You can get more information on ildistrict84.com. So, cup of the day, I have my travel cup mostly because I'm going to be working on my desk a lot. And even though I'm not traveling, I use my travel cup to keep my coffee warm. So, today is a catch-up day from virtually the whole month of May being in Springfield, working on passing legislation, getting legislation to the governor's desk, and again, at the last day, passing the budget implementation bill. There was a revenue package, and there was a issuance for capital bonds. So June is Pride Month. Celebrate love individually and equality. So certainly of all. So I have my travel mug. It has love on one side and be kind on the other. Strive to be kind and be there for our fellow person. We reflect on the past struggles. We also support, and I do support my friends in the LGBTQ community. We have to just support us all as a community, everybody that lives in the community. Certainly trying to take steps to recognize and support us all and those in the LGBTQ community as our friends and allies and loved ones. And so, what do we keep doing? We keep supporting them in all that they need. So, certainly HIV/AIDS prevention, medications, marriage equality. Excuse me. Making sure that they have the health care, the health care that they deserve, and just allowing people to excuse me, allowing people to live their best life. Well, with that, I should take a drink of coffee. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Well, that's what happens when we're sitting in Springfield. We're doing a lot of work. My voice is a little hoarse from doing a lot of discussions about bills. But rolling right along. Sunday, June 8th, 12 p.m. downtown Aurora. It is the Aurora Pride Parade. So they celebrate, as I said, the diversity and the love and the equality in our Aurora community. It is the 6th annual Aurora Pride Parade. The parade route starts on East Benton Street and South Broadway, travels up Broadway to Downer Place, concludes on Downer Place and Middle Avenue. And then later on in the year, I believe in September, there's a Pride Fest in Naperville and there is a Pride Fest in Oswego. I think that's out in September. Also in June is Gun Violence Awareness Month. Remember those who senselessly lost their lives to gun violence, and we try to do so much to end these senseless tragedies. So we certainly ban the sale of assault weapons, and strengthen our red flag laws to protect those in domestic violence situations, and certainly doing all we can to try to reduce gun violence. June is also National Men's Health Month. So This month encourages men and boys to take care of their health by, of course, doing all that we need to do, exercise, eating right, and being mindful of mental health. So, certainly, I know we get busy, but seeing a doctor and focusing on all of our health and this month, men's health is very important. And then, speaking of health and mental health, PTSD Awareness Month. So the Department of Veterans Affairs, I believe like 1 in 10 and 2 in 10 individuals might suffer from PTSD. Veterans suffer from PTSD a little bit more if they encouraged um, situations in their service overseas, in skirmishes or in fire. Um, or if they took on fire, or just overall the stress of war. So, getting help with PTSD really helps out. And then talking about it. We all, now, you don't have to be a veteran to have something traumatic happen in your life. And that trauma, whether it's an isolated instance, whether it's childhood trauma, whether it's domestic abuse or whatnot, um, talk about it, work on it, uh, just to know that it's okay to not be okay. And so there's many groups around in the area that can help out. Of course, you can get mental health support from your insurance company through you can get referrals for it, and certainly. I encourage you to do some research with regards to that. You can certainly also help out with Kane County Health Department has behavioral health training. The health department provides mental health awareness training designed to increase understanding, reduce stigma, and offer practical tools for supporting mental health well-being. I've gone to a couple first aid mental health classes. They're really good, and you can look for one in your area as well. Um, or if you want to, of course, many schools have mental health professions. We do have um, really, we do have a shortage of mental health professionals. So individuals thinking about that career path certainly can look in it as well. And then support services through the nonprofits in our area. If you're a veteran, you can contact the VA. We do have a VA center here on Frontenac in Aurora that you can contact as well, the Vet Center. And then we have the CBOT, which is in North Aurora, that you can contact as well for services. June 1st, yesterday, National Cancer Survivors Day. So take some time out of those who have fought cancer and won. Unfortunately, in my family and many families, people, have succumbed to cancer, and it's very deadly. But there are those that have won, and we need to commemorate those who have survived. So, congratulations to all the survivors out there. And then June 5th, World Environment Day. World Environment Day. So, first celebrated in 1973, 3 years after the first Earth Day celebration in the United States. World Environment Day tries to bring awareness to the challenges facing our world with regards to climate change and pollution. So, we are in Illinois moving towards a carbon free power, 100% renewable energy, working very hard towards that. Carbon free power does include nuclear and renewable. You see the windmills and the solar panels, and we are working on a package that includes battery storage. So certainly trying to do our part. And then finally, I missed the service. I had tried to figure out a way to get from Springfield to honor Dick Miller in his passing, but it just did not work out. So I'm really, really sad I couldn't pay my last respects. But our good friend, World War II veteran, Dick Miller, he passed away at 98 years young. Young, I say, because he was always laughing, always smiling, just a wealth of energy, and brightened everybody's day when you saw him. So I'm just going to give a bit of tribute to Dick Miller. Keep everybody his family, his friends, everybody in your hearts as we we have this big hole in the veteran community, and he filled it. He was the 2024 Memorial Day Parade Grand Marshal, so he got to be honored at the parade, and he enlisted in the U.S. Navy at 17 during World War II, survived the sinking of the USS Drexler off the coast of Okinawa in 1945. He received both a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star for his valiant efforts while serving his country. He returned to Aurora to marry his hometown sweetheart, and they were married for 64 years. He attended Aurora University, and he was a personnel officer at the Aurora's downtown post office. And he was always an icon for the city's veteran community, not only in Aurora, but Naperville. He went to a lot of events. He was often called the singing sailor. He would go on stage and he was not shy about grabbing the microphone and singing God Bless America. He loved every minute of it. At the Memorial Day parade, they did do a moment of silence in his honor. We really, really, truly is going to miss the guy. He was looking forward to his birthday coming up, I believe this month, and Dick said that he didn't want to do his 99th birthday. He wanted to round up straight to 100. And we were going to honor his wishes, and just really, really a little bit sad that he didn't make it. He didn't make it, but we loved every minute of him. He was just an amazing, amazing individual. World War II veteran Dick Miller, we will certainly, certainly miss you. Uh, and keep him in your hearts. So, and I hope doing his and making sure that we support the veterans in the community. And then finally, turning from Dick Miller to an event, I have this at the bottom of my notes, but I might as well talk about him right now, is the Recycle and Shred Day. So that's going to be Saturday, June 28th, 9 a.m. to noon. That's going to be outside our office. And again, we will have shredding, limited to three bags of shredding, 2 baker boxes, and we will accept shredding till the capacity of the truck. We're accepting eyeglasses, cell phones, books. We have not quite gotten to work with an organization for medication take back. We're not doing that again. And I keep looking into it. There's we passed a law a couple of years ago that one of the problems is Fox Metro couldn't accept medications anymore. And so we have to look into that, and I'm still looking into that, but we do not have our medication take back. But we do have our electronics recycling, computer towers, microwave, DVD players, VCRs, video games, printers, cables, receivers, fax machines, no TVs or computer monitors. So it's outside the office, 1677 Montgomery Road, Saturday, June 28th, 9 a.m. to noon. So that is kind of all the updates from the community. So we can jump into the budget and just give you a quick overview of the budget. The budget is $55.2 billion in the general revenue fund. $2 billion more than last year. Certainly there were increases in the budget. There were, in my opinion, some short-term fixes, fund sweeps and tax increases that I didn't agree with. So I did not vote for the budget. Myself and Larry Walsh were the only 2 individuals that did not vote for the budget. where we are looking at right now. So let's talk about what was in the budget to balance the budget. So what was put in the budget was 800 million in temporary or increases in revenue. Now, of course, these increases of revenue, these are projected increases of revenue. We don't know if they're going to come in these dollar amounts, but there's a tax amnesty program, which this program makes sense, and I think we should do this program every couple of years. So individuals who are behind on their taxes, their income taxes, they start accumulating a fine. And so for a short window of time for this tax year, we're going to offer um, individuals and corporations that did not file on time a waiver of these fees that have accumulated in lieu of their getting up to date on their taxes. So helping out a little bit. I'm not opposed to that, but it's a one-time fix. It's a one-time. Last time we did it was right after COVID because individuals were struggling to file their taxes, and we agree with that. So a one-time infusion. This is estimated to be 195 million to 228 million dollars. Then this is where some of the things I don't quite agree with start to come into play. We passed a lockbox amendment, and it was a phase in. So we were phasing in over 5 years the sales tax that is supposed to go into the lockbox. So the last phase in deposit into the motor fuel tax transfer fund, the motor fuel fund, the lockbox for roads and bridges and transit was supposed to be 171 million. In this budget, it delays it a year. It just doesn't pay it this year. Again, now we're starting to start to repeat some of the things that has happened in the past. So they're delaying it. 171 million. We're going to say, well, we're going to use that money today. We'll try to pay it next year. Then there was $237 million in what's called fund sweeps, and this is where things get a little bit annoying, for lack of a better word, is when you look at the list, the extremely long list of fund sweeps that are in the budget. And I'm not going to read them all off, but like the top one is like $10 million to the Open Space Land Grant Fund. It begs the question of, they claim, so this is extra money that did not get spent, but it begs the question of, why is there extra money in a fund that is supposed to go to open space and parks and recreation and helping communities? Is it a factor that there's not enough applications? I argue that there are. Is it a factor that the administration has capped the amount of grants to go out to our communities to ensure that there is a fund balance in this fund? The questions remain unanswered. But the fact of the matter is these fund sweeps, so these funds are paid for by individual different fees and things that everyday people pay to support things that are important to them, like open space, like parks, and that is supposed to go to that use. Well, they took 237 million and swept them into the general revenue fund without any promise to pay that money back. They raised corporate taxes and not corporate income tax, but different types of taxes on corporations, about 72 million. They are not funding the budget stabilization fund by 45 million, so they're underfunding that. They put in some new sports wagering tax, which is 36 million, and then 15 million from a removal of some hotel tax exemptions for long-term stays, and then additional taxes on cigarettes and nicotine. So the budget projects a $218 million general fund surplus. which, gives some flexibility if these revenues don't come in as they expect. We are just maintaining 2.2 billion in the rainy day fund. It continues to underfund the pension systems. So when we say that, the 100% pension payment is $5 billion more than the actuarial pension payment that we pay. That's because we're paying towards a 90% goal instead of a 100% goal. The pension legislation that we worked on has a 100% goal, but it was not called in the House by the Speaker. Again, what really is another reason why I voted against this is because it eliminated, we had a property tax relief grant that it was tied to the evidence-based funding formula with regards to education. They zeroed that out. So to me, to my area, to our area, property tax relief is so important. And to, even though this was a small property tax relief grant and it was competitive and our area has not, our school district puts in for it every year and it was not awarded it, it was at least an avenue in some parts of the state to get a small amount of property tax relief. But apparently this budget does not prioritize relief for hardworking and completely zeroed out property tax relief. And then that is the revenue. That's how they balance the budget. They eliminated property tax relief grants and they added on new taxes and spending. So again, that is what we're looking at. And all around you're going to see pretty much write-ups about the budget. So there's going to be a lot, and I just encourage you to look at different sources. Now, I'm giving it to you directly from my notes, and so it's not being quite the thing. And so let's drill down a little bit on these taxes first and foremost. So tobacco, vaping, cigarette tax, that's going to increase 44 cents in addition to what it's been going up over the years. So the sports wagering tax is going to go up 25 cents per wager. And this is it's going to be calculated on the side of the operators, so whoever's taking the wagering. So the first 20 million wagers, $20 million in wagers that the company gets, it's going to be 25 cents per wager, then 50 cents per wager in excess of 20 million. We talked about the tax amnesty program, pretty short, pretty easy to understand. And then, like I said, the exemption, it mostly applies to hotel operators, occupational tax, that's to short-term rentals. Now, this is some of the corporate rules. Switches Illinois from the Joyce rule to the Finnegan rule. That's a way that income is calculated and is supposed to allow the state to collect more corporate income taxes from corporations that are in multiple states. Telecommunications tax increase to fund 988 services, which I'm kind of not against that, but the whole package I was against. Ensure businesses outside of Illinois selling 100,000 plus worth of physical goods to Illinois residents must collect Illinois sales tax, even if they don't have an in-state presence. That's one of those corporate taxes. Expands the Illinois Retail Act to include servicemen under occupation and use taxes, creating equal tax treatment. Eliminates the 200 transaction threshold for economic nexus. And so this is another corporate kind of thing, aligns with other states. And then implements a 15% tax rate when insufficient sales records are provided. This is supposed to encourage proper documentation. and then and then delayed final payment of the sales tax on the motor fuel and the road fund. So those are kind of the highlights. So of the tax revenue. Now, overall, I'm going to give you like a quick overview of what the budgets include and go into a little bit more detail with that. 307 million in 307 million increase in evidence-based funding formula for public education. 748 million in Smart Start Early Childhood Block Grants, 771 million for MAP grants. This actually is a decrease from last year in our MAP grant. 75-cent rate increase for home health care workers, 80% rate increase for direct service providers working in the disability community. However, there is also budgeted a reduction in hours. So they get an increase, but then they get hours. This one I was really truly upset with, and we were told in committee 200 million. Here we're given the number 500 million. So I mean, I got these notes here, and even some of my notes that I was giving, and I'm a state rep, were incorrect. So $500 million for the state to demolish vacant buildings that we own. Now I get it. We own vacant buildings in certain areas. But another reason why I voted against this is because if there's $500 million for the state to demolish vacant buildings that we have, and I get it, they're eyesores, but we don't have any money to help the Illinois Math and Science Academy repair and improve the dormitories that the students, the brightest and best students of Illinois, are living in. That's really disingenuous. Truly, we're not going to fund IMSA, the flagship of the state, and help them get adequate living facilities for the students that are there, because it is a dormitory type school. But we're going to do $500 million over vacant buildings. And again, this dollar floors me, because the governor's introduced budget was 400 million. Our notes had 200 million. And then the notes changed to 300 million, and now it's being reported it's at 500 million. And this is one of the reasons why I voted against the budget that dropped within less than 24 hours. So we couldn't even compare our notes to what was in it. 25 million for a new pharmacy benefits management program. 46 million to maintain gun violence reduction programs, 100 million for state employee health costs. They claim 100 million is going to be savings through negotiations. And then they created this bridge fund that the governor can use for any anticipated issues with revenues in the future, completely bypassing the General Assembly. $100 million bridge fund. Certainly, there's a lot to unpack. That's just the highlights. That's a lot to unpack. A lot of reasons why I voted against it. Really, truly, do not agree philosophically with a lot of these things on the budget. So myself and my friend Larry Walsh, we were the only two that voted against the budget. So just to give you an overview of the budgets where they were at. Myself and Larry Walsh voted against the budget, the appropriations bill. Blair Sherlock, Representative DeLuca, Representative Marty Deuter, myself, and Representative Walsh voted against the revenue bill. Representative Blair Sherlock, myself, and Larry Walsh voted against the budget implementation bill. So those were the three main bills for the budget. And so that was, if you want to know what the votes were, that's the votes. So just keep that in mind. So what we're going to go over a quick overview. Of course, I can talk to you budget about hours and hours, but I don't want to bore you with a lot of things. Included in the budget was what's called a supplemental. So that means that the current fiscal year we're on we didn't appropriate enough money to cover costs. So the governor wanted an increase in appropriations. Now, normally in normal times, the supplemental is different than the budget, but they decided to put it all together. And so for the current fiscal year to close out, which I know we have to have our budget by May 31st, but really July 1 is the beginning of the fiscal year. So to close out our current fiscal year, $299 million was reappropriated for end of chair needs, Medicare drug repayment, and lapsing IT bills. What also needed to be funded but was not was a retiree health insurance program, which was underfunded by the state for many years, needed to be funded. Did not see that in the supplemental. So again, another reason why I voted against it. So certainly that's another issue where they put the supplemental in without very much scrutiny or review into the budget. So K through 12 education, what are we doing for K through 12 education? So they are approving our evidence funding formula is supposed to go up $350 million every year. It's supposed to go up. It's an increase. So it's a natural increase. This year, it increased 307 million because they eliminated the 43 million of that for property tax relief. So of course that is a mandatory increase. So 15.85 billion is going to K through 12 education. The Illinois State Board of Education. So we have 11.2 billion coming from our operating fund, our general revenue fund, and the rest comes from federal match. Higher education is relatively about flat. I have in the notes about 1.35 billion in total for the universities. So that's what the universities gets. The Student Assistance Commission receives $921 million. And then we have the Monetary Reward Program, which I already talked about. Roughly it's relatively flat overall. Human services, these are our programs that help people in the community. So their total rising. So we have to appropriate money from the general revenue fund and what we get from the federal government. So general revenue about 21.1 billion. So that's up about 4%. So their overall budget with federal funding involved is about 45 billion. So we get federal funding and we have our state spending with regards to that. And so again, everything from childcare to homelessness prevention, to wage increases, like I said, it's very encompassing. Of course, I argue that, we can't have affordable housing if we don't have property tax relief, but apparently people don't realize that. And then there were some decreases in the constitutional officers, Attorney General's office, Secretary of State's office, General Services. Public safety, state police receives nearly $1 billion for cadet classes, cannabis-related regulation. Department of Corrections, juvenile justice budgets were flat. Criminal Justice Information Authority received nearly 500 million. They do a lot of grants, so that's regard to that. Infrastructure and capital investments. So we have about 8.2 billion in new capital appropriations, about 55.9 billion in reappropriations. So our infrastructure capital, that comes out of a different fund than our operating fund, but we still have to include that in the budget. We paid $11 billion into our pension systems. That's going towards that 90% goal, not the 100% goal, which would be 5 million more. And then there was some $5 billion for the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity to support broadband expansion, job training, food access, site readiness, and then of course $500 million for vacant buildings. So that's pretty much a little bit of the overview. The supplemental, as I said, $299 million, 75 million went for childcare, 200 million went to the Department of Health and Family Services, $15 million went to our Department of IT. And then the fund sweeps, which I talked about before. So certainly there is a lot to unpack in the budget, and we can look at it in general, but overall, and under school funding, we have the after-school program that got funded, a slight increase. After School Matters, career technical education received a slight increase. Uh, there was $200,000 increase for district consolidation. Orphanage tuition line was increased slightly. Southwest Organization Project. Parent mentoring program received an additional $6 million. The Chicago Lighthouse for the visually impaired got a slight increase, and then Community and Residential Services Authority got a slight increase. There were 3 new items introduced. A grant to the Science Olympiad for $50,000, a grant to ISB, the Illinois State Board of Education, for the implementation of inclusivity in instructional requirements for $2 million, grant for a teacher mentoring program for $5 million. Decreases, what we were seeing in this department was the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, which was just announced last year, was cut out of this year's budget. It kind of makes me think, why did we even spend the money on it last year? $1.1 million. Reduced was the implementation of the state comprehensive literacy and numeracy plan funding, decreased 1.5 million. Summer electronic benefit transfer program was decreased. Teacher vacancy grant pilot program was get 15 million less, and Valley View Community School District will receive $5 million less. Although it is worth noting that the school district in the speakers district is getting $40 million for a new stadium. So certainly that's an education. General services, that's the committee that I'm on. So and that's pretty much how the state works. So we have the legislative support services. They will receive pretty much a slight increase. We have the Legislative Ethics Commission, flat. The Legislative Inspector General, the governor's office got an increase of $4.8 million. And overall, their budget, what is the governor's budget? If you want to know, $23 million, $23,470,000 for the governor's office, just in case you're wondering. The governor's office of management and budget, relatively flat. The lieutenant governor's budget is modest, $3.5 million. The attorney general's budget is $194.3 million. So we did give them an increase of about $10 million just for various expenses that they are dealing with right now. The auditor general is a little bit less. The comptroller is a little bit less. So those are all under general services. Comptroller, Secretary of State, Treasurer, Judicial, and the Court of Claims are about the Department of Ag, Department of Technology. So most of the department budgets were relatively flat overall, just for what it's worth. Health and Human Services, we spent, like I said, $20 million last year, $20.3 billion, and this year it's $21.144 billion. So it's a 4% increase in health and human services. And I'm not going to read off all the programs that they have in that department because it is a lot of health and services needs. So then, or the Department of Healthcare and Family Services, sorry, not Human Services, just Healthcare and Family Services. So mostly medical assistances, Medicaid, child support services, that like Department of Human Services is meeting the needs of those that are less fortunate than us. public aid eligibility, childcare, food cash assistance, home visiting programs, services for developmental disabilities, fragile seniors, mental health issues, substance abuse, TANF, and all those. So their budget for the state is went up from last year's 7.618 billion to 7.931 billion. It's a 3.9% increase. Now, again, these are notes that were prepared on they were updated on the 31st, but of course the numbers were being moved to the last minute. So these are just rough estimates of the numbers. So then we have the Department of Children and Family Services up 7.8% from $1.4 billion last year to $1.594 billion this year. So they, of course, are in charge with protecting children at risk of harm, supporting youth services and early intervention programs. Department of Public Health. So the Department of Public Health is to, of course, work with protecting the public health. And that actually, from our appropriation standpoint, they get a lot of money from other service from the federal government and other areas. I'm just giving you our budget numbers, not their total budget. For example, public health has $1.8 billion that they get in from other sources, the federal government and we fund them, and we actually decreased our funding for the public health from 398 million last year to 321 million. So we decreased it by 19%, and then we're expecting a decrease in the federal government by about 4%. So Department of Public Health was cut quite a bit. The Department of Aging, which helps our seniors, they went up a bit, quite a bit, from 1.6 billion to 1.8 billion. So that's for the community care program that we talked about. In here are the increases in salaries for those that care for our senior citizens and individuals with disabilities. Department of Veterans Affairs, 42 million. They are expecting a little bit of an increase from other funds from the federal government, but again, cutting services to our veterans is not one that I would support either. Council on Developmental Disabilities, slight increase. And this is a very, very small council. They get a lot of money from the federal government, about $5 million from the federal government. The state kicks in, last year kicked in only 70,000, and this year put in about 200,000, and that's mostly in contractual services, really getting their computer systems and things up and running. And then there's various other commissions. So that's like the highlight of the department. The Department of Human Rights was 19 million and increased to 20 million. And then they get some other funding. And then pensions and personnel, ours was mostly, my committee was mostly administrative. So it's roughly flat, to be quite honest. A slight increase because of the pension payment came out of that department as well. So certainly. And then public safety and infrastructure. So they went down about 2%. We get other funds. So 16 billion dollars comes in from other revenue sources, and this was about 3 billion in that the state put in from our operating fund. So the appellate defender, so that's under judicial services, so that was a bit of a decrease. The appellate prosecutor was flat. Courts and commissions, and I know this is sounding very, very boring to you all. It's all a bunch of numbers, but I think it's really important to understand all the intricacies of the budget, of what we're working on when we're looking at the budget as well. The Department of Corrections, Emergency Response, Emergency Management, Criminal Justice Information Authority, and all the interlanes that go into the inner workings of our state and then Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. Their budget was increased 572 million. And then we talked about capital. Capital is a different bucket that we have to identify from, and mostly these are programs with the Illinois Department of Transportation, $8.9 billion. So there you go. It is summertime, so we are certainly going to be seeing a lot of road construction. So a total 28.8 billion, including 5.7 in new money and 23 billion in having to roll it over from last year. The Environmental Protection Agency, they have about 1.3 billion in new information. So certainly that is the budget of a nutshell. Now, it's a quick overview. There's a lot of line items. There's a lot of things in the budget. They stated that they cut like 800 million. They raised 1 billion in new taxes and fees. So that's the overall. So just giving you a little bit of an overview with regards to um, the state budget. And we normally do the state budget. And I know I've been looking down, reading my notes. They're not really on the screen. I try to write and get everything down that I can, and certainly trying the best I can um, to get all the updates that that I can give you. Again, education, and there are good things in the budget. Don't get me wrong, but there were things that I felt that I just could not support, and I think that the way the budget was put together, the last minuteness of it, and some of the things in there, and some of the things not in there, I just could not bring myself to vote for it. So certainly. Trying to we'll see how things go in the future. We don't know, but overall there's still a lot of work to do. So what did not happen in Springfield? Well, Chicago Transit, Chicago Transit, Pace, Metro, the RTA, they all come together, and they're all interconnected. So there was a lot of proposals going around. Again, a lot of taxes being talked about, of funding what is called, the funding shortfall, which is $750 million. So certainly that's something that the Senate passed, the House did not take up, and it is something that will probably be worked on over the summer. So Springfield Rail Project, now that's of course Springfield, but they got some federal funding for $157 million. So that's the final construction program down in Springfield with regards to a new Amtrak station. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see how that comes along. Some other like highlights that are still working on. There is an energy bill that is still being in the works that did not pass. So that's certainly a big issue as well. That's we're looking at with regards to things that still need to happen. What also did not happen was a tier 2 pension fix. Speaker Welch did not call that, worked very hard on that bill, and certainly that's an issue. We did not pass a law to regulate hemp. Working on that, there is products that are being bought in stores that have intoxicating hemp in them. Federally, you can sell them. They're just not regulated by the state. There was several different views of opinion. The governor's view was to take these intoxicating hemp products and put them in a dispensary. Small businesses were like, no, just regulate them, just like intoxicating alcohol and other things, make it 21 and the like. It didn't go anywhere. Hopefully we can get that in veto session. So those are some things that there was a cannabis bill that that the governor's office said was a cleanup bill. That didn't go anywhere either. We got briefed on that. The governor had a bill. He wanted to allow community colleges to offer bachelorette degrees. Did not pass. He had a measure to reduce the number of township governments. That did not pass. And a bill to ban mobile phones in schools needed a little bit more work. We did have a bill that was called the 340B program. It was to help provide reduced prices to medical providers. Passed out of Senate. The speaker did not call it for a House vote. And again, there was that elections omnibus bill. We were briefed on it. I had a component of that bill, a small component, with regards to just a technical change. And it did not be called in the House either. Mostly because there was some language in there that talked about election cycles that many individuals did not support. Certainly other bills that didn't pass I'm going to compile and let you know that some important did pass. There was a creation of the Office of State Public Defender, and this is actually a really cool bill, and I was on this bill, helped support it, so that in areas where literally there are no public defenders, the Office of the State Public Defender can help out where these areas are. There's a credit for unions and state-regulated community banks. They were able to overcome some opposition from the Retail Association to extend the deadline for compliance with the elimination of the credit card swipe fees for taxes and tips. So what happened was the banks got that extension through a court order, but the court order did not pertain to credit unions or state-regulated community banks. So we were able to put those on par. Certainly there's still a lot of work to do, and certainly want to ensure that I give you the best information I can. So that's the update for this Monday, June 2nd. I hope that everybody's graduations were great. I hope that the end of school came good for a lot of individuals, and for what you do, enjoy the weather. Now, I'm going to leave you with one last thing. I'm wearing my American Legion shirt because I do want to remind folks that the Aurora American Legion golf outing is coming up August 21st. So it's right around the corner. You can go to post84.com and sign up to play golf. I will be there. A lot of folks. It's a good time. We'll be honoring our good friend Dick Miller, who passed away. He's gone every year, so it's going to be sad without him. But if you have time and you want to put it on your calendar, August 21st, go to post84.com, sign up before some, and play a little bit of golf. You don't have to be good at it. It's a scramble. You just need to show up, support our veterans in the Aurora area. So I wanted to give a little shout out to that. So with that, take care. Have a great day. We'll have more updates as the weeks go by and as we deconstruct the session. So take care. Have a great day, guys, and be safe and be well.